Greetings, I am Claire, a 22-year-old individual. One might wonder how a girl of my age ends up residing with her uncle, especially once I reveal the unfolding story ahead. Honestly, I never envisioned that this would happen either. My days are consumed by the vibrant realm of graphic design, where I pour my energy into drawing, creating captivating designs, and embracing freelance opportunities. Life has presented numerous challenges ever since my parents parted ways during my formative years. I journeyed far and wide in pursuit of a feeling of permanence. In the end, I discovered that I was living with my Uncle Daniel. It certainly was not included in my intentions, that much is clear.
Subscribe to my channel to immerse yourself in more astonishing true tales just like this.
Make sure to watch the whole video and give it a thumbs up, as this tale is truly enthralling. Please show your support by giving a thumbs up. The adventure commenced when my mother departed for work, leaving me in search of a refuge as I pursued my college studies. My uncle stood as the only family member able to offer support. He has shared a bond of marriage with his wife Lena for several years now. They inhabit a breathtaking locale. I moved to a residence tucked away in the serene countryside, far removed from the clamor and chaos of urban life. I thought it would simply act as a short escape to a tranquil place. Yet, the course of events took an unexpected turn, diverging from my initial expectations. After several months, I had grown accustomed to the house, the routine, and the tranquility, or so I thought. Then, one fateful day, an event unfolded. I have an event that I simply must recount to you. The narrative unfolded the instant I stepped into Daniel's chamber, discovering him lost in a profound sleep. Before we embark on this journey, be sure to subscribe to the channel, ensuring you won't miss a single moment of the unfolding tale. Let me offer you a glimpse into Daniel's world. He stands apart, both in the present and in the past, from the usual uncles that have graced my life. During his early years, he appeared more as a mentor than a family member. He guided me in learning to ride a bike, showed me how to fix things around the house, and even presented me with my first car on my 18th birthday, stepping in when my mom needed someone to support me. Daniel emerged as the clear frontrunner. He possesses a remarkable blend of thoughtfulness, empathy, and unparalleled generosity. However, I was not relocating solely with him. His spouse was also part of the move. Lena had been there for an extended period. 2 years ago, they exchanged vows, and at first, I harbored some reservations about her. She appeared to overshadow Daniel, and there was an unsettling quality to that in my eyes. Her presence made me feel as if I genuinely didn't belong in their home. At first, I took up residence in the guest room tucked away at the far end of the house, striving to remain unobtrusive. As the days unfolded, the atmosphere grew more bearable, and Lena began to impart her wisdom on culinary delights, tidying up, and an array of domestic affairs. Though we weren't the closest of companions, the air between us felt significantly lighter than it had in the past. I held the conviction that the situation was improving. Of late, I have encountered a phenomenon that escapes my comprehension. As time passed in Daniel's company, the pull I felt towards him intensified. His smiles, the ephemeral caresses, the hand, and the way he would look at me when he thought I was unaware. It had a unique quality. I found myself unable to escape its grasp. An unmistakable tension was building between us. A captivating force that commanded focus.
I comprehend the two cooked swirling in your mind, Claire.
What do you mean he is your uncle? Truly, it might appear astonishing. Nevertheless, this connection was authentic. I endeavored to persuade. It was for me nothing more than a creation of my own mind. In those moments of solitude, the air shimmered with an electric tension, as though an invisible power was pulling us closer together. This is where it truly counts. The situation grew increasingly captivating. One evening, following the meal, I became deeply absorbed in a project within the confines of my room.
The sound of footsteps reverberated through the hallway.
Daniel had drifted into a deep sleep for hours, while Lena reveled in the company of her friends. We discovered a realm of solitude. At first, it appeared trivial, yet soon I was met with the gentle creak of his bedroom door as it swung open. For a fleeting moment, I found myself at a crossroads, torn between the decision to leave him be or to inquire about his well-being. Yet an unvoiced charm held me in its thrall. I carefully eased the door open, striving to ensure that I did not disrupt his peace. He lay back, one arm resting casually behind his head, lost in thought as he gazed into the distance. He seemed completely at peace. As he slept, the gentle light streaming through the window cast soft shadows upon his face, giving him an almost otherworldly quality. I paused, my heart pounding in my chest. Heat surged to my cheeks, and my heart pounded in my chest. This was an experience unlike any I had ever encountered. Perhaps I merely yearned to behold him. Maybe it was something more profound. My mind was clouded with uncertainty. In an instant, my flow of contemplation was interrupted. Unintentionally, I knocked over a vase positioned near his bed, and the noise prompted Daniel to awaken. His eyes fluttered open, and for a brief instant, our gazes met in a delicate dance. Expressions of bewilderment adorned their faces. His eyes flickered a few times, striving to focus on me. He let out a sleepy chuckle and inquired, "What brings you here?" His voice dripped with the weight of sleep. My heart raced as I grappled with the elusive search for the ideal expression. I aimed to avoid any semblance of intrusion, yet I struggled to express my thoughts clearly. My lips were dry and craving moisture. It was never my intention to interrupt your peace.
A wave of uniase washed over me, causing me to falter.
Daniel slowly lifted himself, his hands instinctively reaching to soothe his weary eyes. He bestowed upon me a smile, the comforting, gentle smile that was his constant companion. Yet today, an unusual spark flickered in his eyes, igniting a flutter in my heart. He fixed his gaze upon me for a fleeting instant before uttering another word. "It's all right," he whispered softly. "Claire, while I understand that my reliability may not be guaranteed, I want you to know that I am here for you whenever you seek support." I nodded, though my thoughts were a tempest within. Uncertainty enveloped me as I grappled with this peculiar sensation. The air in the room hung heavy, and my breaths quickened with each passing moment. I merely desired to engage in a dialogue. Daniel's smile faltered for a moment, and I caught a fleeting hint of doubt in his eyes before it disappeared entirely. In that moment, he disappeared, inviting the emptiness beside him on the bed. "Approach me. I'm always here to listen," he said, a gentle smile gracing his lips. I paused for a heartbeat, uncertainty tugging at me, yet an undeniable urge pushed me forward, leaving no room for doubt. I took my place beside him. The air between us crackled with an intensity that surpassed anything we had experienced before. The heat of his body enveloped me, his cologne hanging in the air like a whispered secret. We were so close that I could hear him breathe, feeling the rhythm of his chest rising and falling with every inhalation. My heart surged anew, each pulse seeming to stretch out in a languid dance of time. My eyes lifted to meet his gaze. Our faces hovered close, and I could feel the heat radiating from him. His eyes possessed a tender softness laced with doubt, yet an unmistakable spark flickered within, sending a shiver coursing across my skin.
"Claire, are you okay?"
Daniel asked with a soft touch.
Bevor I kult uta a word, I steppet in closer.
My heart pounded fiercely, and I found it difficult to catch my breath. Words eluded me, yet an unmistakable energy enveloped the space, as if the very atmosphere pulsed with a lively resonance. Daniel lingered nearby, his gaze locked onto mine with an intensity that felt almost palpable. Silence surrounded us, but his breath grew rapid, reflecting my own. The ambience within the room had taken on a distinctly warmer quality. The silence that surrounded us grew heavier, each unvoiced thought hanging palpably in the atmosphere. My thoughts spun in a chaotic dance. This moment represented the pinnacle of all that had transpired prior. I found myself unable to hold back any longer. I leaned in, my lips trembling, as though ensnared in a dream. They established a connection with his. At first, the absence of confidence was unsettling, but as his lips brushed against mine, infused with a gentle tenderness, I discovered I was powerless to pull away. My mind clamored for me to stop, yet my body remained obstinately unyielding. This held great significance for me.
This is what I longed for. Daniel's hand tenderly cupped my cheek, pulling me closer.
His other hand rested nearby. His touch grazed my skin, and I felt the warmth spreading outward. The kiss deepened, and soon I found it impossible to discern the boundary between his lips and my own.
Everything else faded into obscurity.
It was just the two of us, wrapped in this unmistakable connection. My thoughts whirled in a storm of confusion and guilt, yet an unusual feeling persisted that this was exactly how things were destined to unfold. What were we engaged in? What made it feel so profoundly necessary? It transcended words, lacking any rationale. He reclined a bit, his forehead softly meeting mine. Both of us were breathless, our chests rising and falling with each labored inhale. With every unsteady and deliberate breath, I sensed his pulse against my skin, harmonizing with the cadence of my own heart.
Claire.
His voice resonated with a profound gravity, imbued with an unvoiced fervor. We shouldn't, he said, yet I couldn't help but doubt that conviction. Certainly, I agreed. An undeniable urge surged within me, driving me onward. Softly, I reached out, intertwining my fingers with his. He stayed near. In that moment, his fingers wove themselves with mine, holding on with equal intensity. As I held on to him, our eyes locked in a silent connection. For what seemed like an eternity, we lingered in that silence, without a word spoken. The weight of it all hung heavily in the air that separated us. All that remains suspended in the space between us. Is it within our capacity to act instinctively, or should we even consider it? I raised my hand, cupped the back of his neck, and pulled him closer. I pressed my lips to his once again. In this instant, free from uncertainty and fear, there exists only a profound yearning to be near him, to bask in the essence of his being.
Daniel's hand swept along my back, pulling me in closer still. The intertwining of our bodies ignited an all-consuming fervor.
Uncertainty lingered regarding the path this was following. In all honesty, it held no significance for me. I yearned to linger in that moment, where only the two of us existed. My heart pounded fiercely in my chest. His lips brushed against my neck, bestowing soft kisses upon my skin. His breath whispered against my ear, igniting a shiver that coursed down my spine. It was an experience unlike any I had ever faced.
Formidable. All-consuming.
And there was a peculiar thrill, one that danced just beyond my grasp, defying my attempts to put it into words. "Are you absolutely sure about this?" he whispered against my skin, his voice heavy with desire. "My intention is not to cause you pain." I closed my eyes, struggling to find my voice. Every fiber of my being screamed for me to stop, to turn back, yet I found myself unable to comply. An insatiable longing surged within. The urgency of it resonated within me profoundly. I chose to avoid lingering on or examining anything too closely. My only wish was to be near him. "Indeed," I whispered as my fingers danced across his chest, feeling the heat of his skin beneath my caress.
"I long for this, Daniel. I long for you."
His lips met mine again, and this time the kiss deepened, charged with a sense of urgency. The path behind was irrevocably closed.
Noting outside These weil's bore any importance.
What held significance was the journey itself. He ignited a sense of longing within me, making me feel indispensable, more alive than I had ever felt before. The atmosphere enveloped us, tightening its grip with an unsettling intensity. The surrounding lights dimmed, intensifying the connection we held dear. Every caress, every kiss bore the significance of a vow for a connection more profound, an understanding we both felt but couldn't fully articulate, yet our hearts yearned to explore. His heartbeat echoed alongside mine, weaving a melodic rhythm that was both unwavering and soothing. Though a persistent reluctance clung to my spirit, a deeper essence yielded completely to the reality that was unfolding. It had transcended its former self.
Only fleeting kisses.
The connection was unfathomable, a depth of feeling that slipped through my fingers, defying my attempts to express it.
Expressions.
This longing has consumed me for ages, Daniel whispered, his breath gentle and alluring against my lips. As I navigated the depths of his speech, my hands roamed over him, mapping the defined lines of his muscles beneath the surface, attuned to the heat radiating from him and the subtle reactions elicited by my caress. At this juncture, retreat was not an option.
An undeniable force pulled us closer, weaving our paths together.
Neither of us expected time to freeze in that instant as we were wrapped in each other, the soft rhythm of our kisses, the warmth of our embrace. At that moment, everything seemed to align flawlessly. In the quietude of the room, we rose above the designation of an unclean niece. We were two souls entwined in a connection that surpassed anything I had ever known. The air between Daniel and me crackled with an unmistakable tension. Not a single movement escaped us, nor did a whisper break the silence. In an instant, the silence was shattered by the eerie sound of the front door slowly creaking open downstairs. We remained motionless. My heart pounded fiercely as I hurried away from Daniel, a tide of panic crashing against my chest. What have we just achieved? What was unfolding between us?
A tide of remorse washed over me.
A wave of overwhelm washed over me, yet an undeniable sensation pulsed just beneath the surface. I found myself ensnared in the palpable tension of recent events, grappling with the truth that we were woven into a complex web, one that was proving challenging to escape.
Daniel paused, kaukt in a moment of stillness.
His eyes were locked onto mine, but the meaning behind his expression slipped through my grasp. The warmth hung in the air, an unbroken intimacy that enveloped us both.
Claire,
he whispered, his voice taut as he hesitated to say anything further. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from above.
Stages. Daniel discerned a voice.
It hit me like a bolt, and my heart plummeted. It was, without a doubt, Lena.
I leaped from the bed, my breath quickening into shallow, frantic gasps.
I found myself utterly bewildered, unsure of the path forward. My mind was a whirlwind, yet I saw no escape. Was I really about to face her after all that had just unfolded? The door to Daniel's room eased open with a soft creak. There she stood, Lena elegantly poised in the doorway. Her features were marked by astonishment. Her eyes darted between Daniel and me, revealing her evident confusion. Claire surveyed her surroundings with a disapproving glance. Daniel? What is unfolding in this moment? Her voice quivered, yet an intuition remained, a subtle instinct that murmured to her that something was not quite right. My face drained of color, leaving it ashen and devoid of life. Lena's presence was reminiscent of a brisk splash of icy water. In that moment, everything felt profoundly amiss. Articulating this felt like an insurmountable challenge, a struggle to grasp the whirlwind of events that had just transpired between Daniel and me. My throat tightened as I fought to express my thoughts. In that moment, I found myself pausing, grappling with the uncertainty of my reply.
Daniel sat on the brink of the bed, a figure kaukt in Kontemplation.
Seemed just as lost. He massaged the nape of his neck, a palpable indication of his discomfort and hesitation in articulating the right words to convey his thoughts. Lena's eyes moved from him to me, and a silent bond hung in the atmosphere around us. In that moment, it seemed as if the world around me shifted entirely. Lena felt an unsettling shift in the air, a whisper of events that were never intended to unfold. Yet instead of revealing anger or disappointment, her eyes conveyed a deep, unsettling sorrow. Upon her entrance, she softly closed the door, allowing a quiet hush to envelop the space. She stood behind her, and her presence was so commanding that the entire room fell silent, akin to the hush that descends just before a storm. "Claire, you need to understand something significant," Lena said gently, her voice more affectionate than I expected. "There exists a depth to this that transcends your current comprehension, a complexity that neither of you fully grasp." I stared at her, my mind swirling in a storm of confusion. What did she hope to achieve?
Wat Else lei bei und?
The silence hung in the air, a heavy presence that remained long after Lena had left. Amidst the turmoil, her words hung in the air, a tranquil understanding and readiness to help igniting a flicker of hope I had not foreseen. Lena remained calm, ensuring we felt included. Instead, she presented us with a chance, a glimmer that flickered and faltered, yet it was undeniably there.
I stol a fleeting glance et Daniel.
His expression was a tapestry woven with threads of remorse, uncertainty, and a fleeting emotion that danced just beyond my grasp. He turned his eyes away from mine, his hands twisting together in a restless display of anxiety. I felt the weight of his struggles stemming from the recent events, how our paths had intertwined in unforeseen ways. As I reflected more deeply, it became increasingly evident that none of this was crafted by anyone's hand. The course of events transpired outside the realm of our control. One truth lingered in my thoughts. We could not merely disregard it or act as though nothing had transpired. Lena was certainly right about that. All these perplexing feelings, all issues demanded immediate engagement and resolution. I whispered, my voice quivering ever so slightly. "What are our next steps?" Daniel looked at me, his eyes filled with a complex array of feelings.
I find myself uncertain, Claire.
I find myself grappling with the complexities of my emotions and thoughts. I find myself uncertain. Is it reasonable for me to experience feelings of anger, shame, or any emotion whatsoever? His voice trembled, betraying the chaos that raged inside him. He discovered himself ensnared in the delicate balance between the bond we had forged and his loyalty to Lena, his wife. This matter could not be settled in just one discussion. The situation was far from simple. He took a deep breath and stepped closer to me. An overwhelming desire to extend my hand and provide him solace washed over me. Still, I found myself pondering if that was indeed the right path to take. I found myself uncertain about what the correct decision might be. No more. I questioned whether we could truly settle everything at this moment, I whispered gently. Nonetheless, I hold the conviction that it is vital for us to embrace honesty with each other and partake in genuine dialogue. This circumstance is far too complex to merely overlook its presence. Daniel nodded slowly, his expression serious, yet free of any trace of anger. Certainly, I am informed. I find myself at a complete loss for where to begin. I took his hand, feeling a blend of comfort and an undercurrent of tension from the silent words hanging in the air between us. We start by recognizing the events that unfolded, reflecting on our feelings, and considering the emotions that remain, before we decide on our subsequent actions. He inclined his head in acknowledgement. Once again, his expression softened, just a touch. "It shall not be an easy task, Claire. Yet, I yearn to acquire it. I yearn for a deeper understanding of the interplay that exists between us." I took hold of his hand. A warmth enveloped us, as though unvoiced sentiments hung in the air, bridging the space between us. I find myself devoid of all the answers, Daniel. Though the future remains shrouded in uncertainty, I stand resolute, unwilling to escape from this predicament. No more. We paused in quietude for a moment, each of us lost in our own thoughts, striving to decipher the occurrences that had transpired. The path ahead lay shrouded in uncertainty, and the solutions were far from clear-cut. The surge of emotions, the weight of uncertainty, it was a lot to navigate. What Lena shared with us appeared as a guiding light, an opportunity to face our challenges together and steer through the tumult we were experiencing. I cast another look at Daniel, and for the first time, I felt that no matter what lay ahead, we would face it with genuine intent. A perfect resolution slipped through our fingers, and an easy way out was nowhere in sight, but a flicker of hope persisted. As I sought the restoration of clarity, and perhaps something even greater, my thoughts swirled with endless possibilities. In this contemplative state, I found myself reflecting on Lena and her words. Her calmness and wisdom revealed a pathway I had not known was there. She had neither dismissed us nor criticized us. Instead, she granted us the liberty to contemplate, to grasp the events that had unfolded.
What could come next?
What could transpire if we candidly embrace the richness of our enduring feelings?
Shall we move forward, or shall we hesitate?
Is it overwhelming? Those inquiries may be postponed for a later occasion. In this moment, it was just Daniel and me, wrapped in the serenity we both cherished. Uncertainty. We both understood that the past would remain irrevocably altered. Our sole course of action was to press ahead, whatever challenges lay ahead, and discover a way to maneuver through it together as a united front.